Hey everyone, this is Pam. Thanks for joining me today. So, to begin with, I'm just going to apologize. I'm really not very good at this whole video making thing. Um, I don't really have the technology for it and I don't have the editing skills. So, to the extent that this is kind of rough, I hope that you will forgive me. But today, anyway, I'm going to do a non sketchbook tour, and that is, I've compiled some drawings that I actually like, and I'm putting them together because um, earlier I showed you what I called an ugly sketchbook with a lot of scribbles in it, and I thought that maybe you'd like to see some things that I considered successful drawings. So these are drawings that I've pulled out of other sketchbooks that I've used over time. I tend to use larger paper. I believe this particular paper is uh, 10 by 14 or something like that. It's a relatively large sheet of paper. And these are all doodles. None of them, I didn't start any of them with anything particularly in mind. I generally just started with a shape and then started drawing as I saw things that I thought were interesting. This particular one has two dryads in it. I had forgotten that I drew the second one, which I just pointed out. And the first one, I don't know what I was pointing at there. Sorry. The second one was also starting out as a doodle. I started out with just one long line that encircled the paper. Once I got that in, I just started doodling in the face. I see faces everywhere, and so I actually have to try to resist when I do doodles. I have to resist making everything a face. So that was what was happening here with this guy. This one, I believe, started with the circle that's one of the little monster's eyes, and then, yeah, that one right there, and then I just expanded off from that one. This is Shrimp Man. I like Shrimp Man. I don't remember how he started exactly, but he turned into Shrimp Man. And I really like the juxtaposition between the heavy lines of Shrimp Man versus the finer lines of the background behind. This is like the prior one. It started out with one big line that went around the page, and then I thought it looked like a person, so I just filled him in. And I don't know what's going on there. I think sometimes I tend to draw things sideways just because of where my hand is sitting and comfort level. So I think I drew him sideways. This is a centipede. This is one of the few things that I actually started out as a drawing. My son likes to do D&D. He DMs. So sometimes he asks me to draw monsters and things for his group, and this is a centipede I made for them. And this is a drawing that I was experimenting with multicolored inks. These are Noodler's inks that I used with my Muji fountain pen. I have both the orange and the blue and the gray. That's all three. That's not both. That's three, but you know what I mean. So this is my current sketchbook. It's a pen and ink sketchbook, and I've shown you some of the things in here already. This I did a video of. It's titled, I think, Doodle Your Belly Fat Away with Pam. In that video, I suggest that a good exercise for getting rid of belly fat is doodling. So check that out if you're interested in getting rid of some belly fat without doing crunches. This is just a doodle. I think I just started out with these daisies that are connected, and I think it got kind of boring over time, so I ended up painting it with gouache and then filling in the eyeball and the arm underneath. This, yeah, uh, yeah, um, stoners, I guess, sitting under mushrooms. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing here. And I guess those are mushrooms. That's what I'm showing you there. I had originally done a voiceover, or not a voiceover, I had originally just recorded the audio as I was going along, and I don't know. Don't, just let's not go there. It turned out to be a mess, and so I'm doing this voiceover instead. That right there is just a failed uh, doodle, and I just added it for fun. This, I originally had an idea in mind when I put this together, and nobody sees what I had planned with this one. So, yeah, I decided, well, what the heck? Uh, I'm not telling, and if you see something in there that you think looks like something, let me know in the comments below. And if it doesn't look like anything, yeah, let me know there too. And there I was just pointing out that that's gouache I had painted in. This one, I think I just put this one together because I was experimenting with making diamond shapes and just ended up being with a tree with a bird. And that's a woman who appears to be holding a rose. This one is kind of, yeah, I'm not very happy with this one. Uh, I drew the doodle and then afterward I put in the sky, and I just don't really like how muddy that is. That's gouache. What I do like though about this one, and I think it's kind of cute and why I kept it, is those little eyes peeking out from underneath that sidewalk. I thought they were kind of cute. Yep, there I am, putting out the eyes. There you go. Yep, there we go. Okay, this one started out as a neurographic drawing, and I think just somewhere along the way I got kind of tired of doing neurographic drawings, so I filled it in, and that's what it became. This one started out as an automatic drawing, which is I just put a bunch of lines on paper and I put them all over the place with no particular idea in mind of what I wanted to do. And after I started seeing stuff in it, I turned it into a doodle. And then I painted it with gouache again. This one is the subject of a video that is upcoming. I drew this on, or I filmed myself drawing this, and then afterward I painted it, so I don't have a video of me painting it, which is okay because it's just kind of, that part's kind of boring, but yep. This is just a doodle that I did. And if you like this video, please tune in and you'll see that one too. This is a painting I did with gouache. I think I might have been a little glum when I did this one. Anyhow, yeah, that's gouache. It's just a doodle. I did the background, and then afterward I filled in the figure. I'm showing here that this is pen and ink paper. It doesn't take gouache very well, and that's why it's also buckled. But that's okay. I don't really plan on displaying these or anything. This is just another doodle I did. After I did the inking, I went in and I filled in the background with watercolor. Yep, there I am. See, watercolor. Okay. Anyway, this one I actually did have something in mind. I just really wanted to draw those flowers. So I did, and then afterward I decided to add some grapes and mushrooms and that little guy who, I think I had something else in mind when I drew the little guy and it didn't turn out, so I just turned him into something else. So now I'm going to my other sketchbook that I'm using right now, and I'm using this Strathmore toned gray paper. And I got the idea of using toned paper or from watching illustrations by Pete. And oh, I have to apologize for the rest of this video. It all got kind of cattywampus, so you'll be looking at everything a little bit at an angle, but that one I think I'm just showing you there that I had started with the flower. I wanted it to be pretty and then it turned into that. Anyway, I got this idea from Illustrations by Pete because he was talking about toned paper. And I think he specifically doesn't like this paper because it's a little too brown. Yeah, I don't really mind it too much, but at any rate, um, he had suggested using this paper particularly because it takes white so well for highlights. And so I have been using white on this paper and I like the way it turned out. This right here started, I think, with that. I think those were originally supposed to be hands, and I made a mistake with them. So I said, well, what the heck? And I turned them into whatever that is there. I think this demonstrates the great part about doodling, and that's that if you make a mistake, you can just turn it into something else, and who's to tell you you're wrong, right? Those are the stately cranes of Mount Fuji. This was also, I think, something that started out as a neurographic drawing, and I just can't really stick to that kind of repetitive um, drawing. So once I got to a certain point, I just turned it into a little person. And this again is just using white on the toned paper, which I like very much. And it's there I'm showing you white stippling, which might not show up very well in the video, but I really like using that white ink for stippling. This one with the bird and the flower, I had gone in originally and I had painted them in with white gouache. And I can't remember if I outlined them with ink before or after I put in the white gouache. But then afterward I went back over them with watercolor just to kind of get that kind of, I guess what I was trying to do was trying to differentiate between the paint and the background. And that to me looks like snakeskin. So anyway, those are my drawings. I hope you enjoyed them. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you didn't, give me a thumbs up anyway. And please comment. Let me know what you saw, if you saw anything interesting, and hit that subscribe button as well. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye-bye.